Hey folks, welcome. It's Saturday night where I am. Hopefully, you're having a lovely evening, morning, day, whatever it is. Whatever time it is for you. And tonight, we're going to have, since it's weekend again, we are going to, first of all, show off this afternoon's efforts by shooting our big monster. And there we go. Lovely. But tonight, the idea is to make a crafting widget that is, well, we don't know how we're going to activate it yet, but we'll decide on that soon enough. But we're going to do some sort of a progress bar each time you craft something, so that you've got an indication that it's not instant, but it's going to do something. Okay? So, with that in mind, we're going to need our crafting widget. Okay? And probably we're going to have a look at this. So we're going to open up crafting main as well. Okay. And what we could do is make this a drag and drop into like an icon for craft, right? But what we want to do is some kind of a progress bar anyway. So let's create a widget and we'll call it craft progress. Now I have got a sort of semi-idea of what I want here. Well, I've got two ideas. I've got the same thing as our widgets for the health, etc. Okay, like this thing. Well, that's the very thing I didn't want to do. Like this thing. Right, the radial thing. Okay. Or alternatively, what I had in mind was a progress bar, right, where we use the what was I looking for here? Yeah, I was looking for UI textures, where we use our GUI parts, right, and we've got a loading bar which we could use, right? We've got the loading bar frame and the background. Okay, so let's say we put that there, okay, as an example. Okay, and that is 4,000 I'll need to work out the ratio. Okay, it seems to be around, let's say 4 to 0.2 or 40 to 2. Right, so if we got our calculator out, the actual ratio, if we were to make this 500 wide, right, we would times it by point. Okay, let's do the actual calculation, right, and we'll work it out properly. So it was 4032 divided by, I believe it was 224. 224. Okay, so it's 1 in 18. Okay, so if we make it 500, we divide it by 18 and we get 27.7. So if we make this 500, we should get 28. Okay, and you'll see that is actually kind of in the correct size. Okay, next thing we could do is this loading bar. We have this loading bar frame. Now, this seems to be the one that we use in the background. Okay. Now, what else do we have here? Do we have anything else related to this? I'm just wondering here, what's this one? Okay, that's that one, right? And that's the one I amended. Okay, so we've got them. So it would appear to me right that we need to put this basically there's something about this image that isn't quite right. Right? If we say 500 and 28, right, it's got this thing on it, which makes it kind of weird. Okay, so it appears to me right that we don't use that one. And this is the one we use. Right? Except we basically have this in the background. Right? Or this one. And we draw this as the progress bar. Okay. So what I'm saying here is we delete that, and that, and that. We get our progress bar, right? Our background image is this. Right? We draw it as an image. We say 500 by 28. Our fill image is going to be that. Okay, and you'll see okay. So that's not quite what we want. Interesting. Okay. Okay. What we're going to do in that case is we're going to have a background. So we're going to have an image. Okay. And our image is going to be 1000. Sorry, it's going to be 500. 500. Hi, quit abandoned. How you doing? 500 by 28, right? And it's going to be this. So now we can do the progress bar. Okay. and we can actually remove that and make it transparent. Okay. I'm fine. Yeah, we're fine. It's about the best way to put it, I would say. So you can see here, we can do our progress bar, filling it up, etc. Which is fine and dandy. So this is obviously going to be a variable. So we can call it PB underscore progress. Actually, PB craft. Okay, and we can put, actually we can't. No, we want to put, oh, we can't do that either. Well, there you go. Oh well. That'll be that then. Right, we're going to put this in another canvas panel anyway. Alright. And then we're basically going to center it. So 0 that, 0 that, 0.5, 0.5. And now, where the hell did it go? Right. Well, that's not right. There we go. Right. That's better. Okay. So, what we'll do now is we're going to put this in a vertical box. Okay, so vertical box, we're going to put that in there. We're going to move it to the top. Now these are going to go kind of in the vertical box, right? But first of all, we are basically going to say fill it up. And this canvas panel is probably not going to do that. But we'll leave it like that for now. We'll monkey about with it, because we like monkeying about with things, because we're mad monkeys. Right, but in our vertical box, we're going to put a horizontal box. And in that horizontal box, we're going to put an image. And then we're going to put some text. Okay. Then, in our vertical box, we're going to put a canvas panel. And then, we're going to put our craft in our canvas panel. Okay. So in our image, we're going to get our image. It's when it's being done, right? And we're going to pull this down in size to 96 by 96, right? We don't want this being too big, right? We're going to put this in a border and make a nice border for it, right? That's the plan here. So yeah, there's that. So we're going to go to our string table, we're going to go to in-game, and we've already got crafting, but what we probably want is another one, right? So I'm going to say craft progress, and we're going to say crafting progress. Okay. So when we do it, right, we're going to go ST in game and craft progress. Okay. And then we're going to get our text and change it to this. I wonder how it would look with that other one. Go with that. Okay, so horizontal box. Right, that should be first. Right, what's going on with that? Why are these not in that horizontal box? Well, they are, but there must be some padding on that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? Because I was going to give it some padding anyway. Right. So we're going to say padding to the left 50. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to take the padding off. I'm going to center it. I'm going to center that. And that doesn't do anything. Right, okay. So we're doing some padding then. Right. And that's on fill, so that's alright. right? And then in here we'll pad it on the bottom, which will knock that down a bit. Okay, and then this canvas panel we're going to wrap it with a border. Actually, we're going to undo that. What we'll do is we'll get this vertical box and we'll wrap it with a border, right? And our border is going to be full. What? Right, so this is getting a bit weird. And I think it's because this canvas panel here right, I'm going to redo this. Nothing really should be sized to content. Widgets are always a good fun, always a good laugh. There's always a lot of tweaking goes on with borders, right? It's just the nature of it. Right, so we're going to take that out, right? Our next thing is now we have this vertical box, okay, and believe it or not, we're going to wrap this with a canvas panel. And right, that shouldn't be right. We're going to start off at that. Then okay, we need left and right in a bit. Okay, then this is going to be that, 0 that, 0 that, then our vertical box is going to be that, 0 that out, 0 that out. Then that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But this... I don't have a favourite game developer. Why would I have a favourite game developer? Makes no sense. $500. No. 400. It's very difficult to go on like favourite game you made, because basically you're normally sick of the sight of them by the time you've finished them. Right? You kinda never want to see them ever again. I suppose favourite game is the last one that you done, right? What we could do is 0.5 on the Y. Okay, that's not doing it. Probably this one actually. When you're as old as me, you don't have favourites like that. Right? None of that makes any sense anymore, to have favourites. Right? So what we're going to do is wrap this with a border. We probably won't have that. We need a nice picture. So we go back to our GUI parts and we select a frame, basically. We go to our border, we go to a frame, we're not doing the content, we're doing the actual border. Right, and that looks like crap. So we're not going to have that. Better, but still not right. We probably might need to push this in to be more kind of square. Right, but we'll try out a few different frames. That gives us an edge, right? That gives us an edge, but not really what we want. I just have games that I like. You know, I don't care who made them. It's of zero relevance. Now, That's more like it. Right? But with that in mind, this progress bar, right? I'm actually going to have a background on it, but that background is probably going to be black, right? So that it stands out. Right, so this now gives us a nice black background. Okay. But what we probably want to do now is both our, well, we can pad this to the left and right. And so we can say 25 and 25. And that's probably not the way to do it. But what I can do here is not do that. Probably what we want to do is pad these individually. Right, but more like actually pad these, but we can't. So in actual fact, if we change this to 400, right, and we bring up our calculator again, well, answer to that's fairly simple, really. I was a professional programmer for many years. And I had free time so I kind of thought, why not? Right, this should be 0. Right, but then it should be centered. Right. What, did you not hear my answer? What was that, 400? And that was 22. That's 0, 0, 0.5. Right, so that should now be right. Now this needs the padding changed. Well, as I said, the answer's fairly simple, right? I was a professional programmer that had been playing games for God knows how many years. Right, probably since before you were born. And I was sitting in the house at night not doing anything, so I thought, I wonder if I can write a game for an Xbox. Well, strictly that's not true, that's not the first time. Right, but from a serious point of view, it was the first time, right? So, basically what I did was, I went out and I had to buy a graphics card that could run the Xbox SDK, and then I went and wrote an Xbox game in C#. The other thing was that it actually taught me to use C#, even though I had, you know, I've done a lot with a lot of different languages, but C# was kind of new at the time. So yeah. That's what we did. Okay. So there we have well, the thing is, I didn't start out as, well, I tell a lie. Basically, when I was about 12, okay, we can go back even further than that. My father programmed on huge, when computers were the size of basically rooms, and programmed on punch cards and stuff like that. Then he got a hold of a TRS-80 from a friend he had that had a shop that wanted him to do like stock inventory stuff on the computer, the TRS-80 at the time. So I must have been about 12 or something like that, right? This is way back in the day. We're talking late 70s, early 80s. In fact, late 70s, right? So I can actually, is that true? TRS-80 year. Right, it was launched in 77. So I'm about right. So late 70s, right? And then in school we didn't have computers, right? So we never learned anything at school about computers. But I had already like seen the TRS-80, and I think I'd had a little play about with it, but not much, because it wasn't my dad's computer, and it was like this business guy that he knew, and obviously they were quite protective of it, right? So then I went to college when I was 15. Because of the year I was because of the month I was born, I basically finished school when I was basically about 15 and a half. And I didn't care about school, right? I was really not a very good school student, but I was okay, right? Like, all the sort of, I don't know, where are you from? Quite abandoned. Are you from the States? And then I'll be able to put it in terms that you'll understand. Still not convinced about this. I need to put another thing in. I need to put the actual thing in that you're actually crafting. I could always put it as a text box down here what you're crafting, but anyway. Yeah, I was from country. Yeah, I was from country too. But which country? Oh, Thailand. Right, okay, well, I don't know how your education system works in Thailand, right? But basically, if you understand the American way, you'll probably understand the American way more than the UK way. And then even since then, the UK way has changed. So if I was probably to explain it to somebody from the UK, they wouldn't understand what I was talking about. And then you put on top of that, England's different from Scotland. So the English grades are different from Scottish grades. But it's basically, I got a high school education, right? Right, I passed all the exams barring one, right? Which is quite funny because it's French, right? I didn't care about French. And it's a language, and it's ended up being what I work with, languages, except it's computer languages, right? So back to the story, back to where we were, right? So left school, went to college for a year, and this was like a government training program. And I basically learned, it was only for about a set number of weeks, but we got paid for it. Not very much, but we got paid. And it was basically building. I learned to build brick walls and stuff. Right, couldn't remember how to do it now. Well, I've got a general idea, but we did carpentry and basic brick laying and roofing and stuff like that. And it was only for a short time, right? And then basically the new year came and a new college year came, and I went and I did, it wasn't like a recognised course, right? Like as in a degree. Right? It wasn't like a degree. It was like one exam at the end. It was basically, what was it called? It was business administration or something, right? And it was all sorts of things like statistics, business admin, but one of the best things was typing. right? So I've got qualifications, believe it or not, in typing. And I've got one in some statistics and various other things that I can't even remember. Right? So I did a year of that, learned to type, did some business admin stuff, and then got a job in a semiconductor factory. So that's when I was 16. Right? And I worked in the semiconductor factory until I was, well, it was 98, I think. 97 or 98. And basically I taught myself Visual Basic and some SQL. Right? I had already done Basic, right? Obviously. Right? Because we did some, oh yeah, back to that course thing. We did some basic programming on Apple IIs and what was called a BBC Micro at the time. Right? So we'd done some of that. That was in the business administration course, right? As I said, it was like a hodgepodge of different things we did. As I said, it wasn't really a one-off like diploma or anything. It was just a hodgepodge of different qualifications you had. And funnily enough, at the end of that, I applied to Napier to go to university. I was still only 15. And I think I was their youngest ever applicant. But I never had any qualifications, really. Right? But I never managed to blag myself into that one. But I did manage to blag myself into the first programming job I got, which was at a research company. And that was great. I loved it there. But had to leave because of the travelling, and they begged me to stay. But I was travelling a heck of a lot, and I was travelling back and forward a heck of a lot, and another company offered me a lot more money, and it was less travelling, and that was in a consultancy, right? And in the consultancy, I ended up doing my first sort of web stuff for the government. We were subcontracted by the government to make a website for paying government stuff. Right? And then was there a couple of years. That company went out of business, but I had left before it did. It went through like lots of different, again, they got rid of a lot of people, and like we always knew we were going to stay. There was a couple of us knew that we basically were going to get kept on because we were the only ones producing work that made them any money. So we did get kept on, and a lot of the guys got let go. But circumstances changed, and I got a job in working with a big insurance company, which was, no, wait a minute, I've missed out something. yeah, then I worked in... I worked for the government again, but this was in health. It was like doing like the health records for Scotland online, and that was never going to work because the internet speed just wasn't there. But they had high hopes. But so I worked on that for about, I don't know how long it was, about 6 months or something. My code stuff worked, but the infrastructure wasn't there to do it. So I ended up moving to an insurance company, which was the worst move ever. Oh, it gets better. So I was working for an insurance company, which was again working on web stuff, and they were literally clueless. They were literally jumping up and down because they had 5 concurrent users on this. We had managed to get 5 concurrent users on the site. Right, and you're just shaking your head going, oh my god. Right, and basically you couldn't test your code, right? So you'd be given a task on the Monday, this was all, and a lot of it was all XML, XSLT stuff, right? And basically then, so you'd be given a task on the Monday, right? And you couldn't test it till Friday. Right, so basically, if you were any good and could write the code fast, basically you'd be sitting, there all the week, just doing nothing, because you couldn't test the code or anything. Right, because you had to pass it to the team leader, who would then get it ready to test on the Friday. And yeah, that didn't last long. So I was only there a couple of months. Then I worked in a hospital, in the IT department of the hospital. Once again, going back to XML and XSLT, because this was obviously back to the health thing, right? And basically I worked in a hospital working on doctors' medical records. Okay? So meanwhile, my friend from back in the semiconductor factory had went back to college and done a computing degree, and he was actually like the head IT guy in a medium-sized business, right? There was only about 5 of them, right? And they had a big project. Now, this company had manufacturing places in Scotland, Poland, China, America, Mexico. And by that last country I just said there, kind of points to where this story's going, right? But my friend, who had done his IT degree, but he was sort of more of a hardware guy, and basically he had been told that all of the different plants had to migrate to one MRP system, right? So that's like all the ordering of parts, stock, inventory, blah blah, right? And basically, this was while I was at the hospital. He would phone me at night and say, "Do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do that?" And I would say, "Yeah, I know how to do that." And then this went on for about 2 weeks. And I just basically said to him, I says, "Look, do you want me to come and work for you or something?" And he basically went, "I'll tell you tomorrow, I'll ask the boss." So he was asking the owner of the company, right? Meanwhile, well, right, so basically he came back and says, "Yes, we want you to come and work for us." So we agreed terms, blah, blah, blah. I had to go and tell the hospital. The guy who was the head of IT in the hospital was previously one of the engineering guys in the semiconductor factory, so I already knew him, right? And so I sort of said to him, I says, "Look, I've been offered this chance to go to America and work there and blah, blah, blah." Not that I was bored about working in America, but it was just an opportunity, you know. And basically what happened was they came back and says, "Okay, we've got a permanent position for you if you want." So they were offering me to be like what's known now as Chief Information Officer, right? Back in those days, there wasn't such a thing as that, right? Obviously now because of security and blah, 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 you know, a lot of companies have a chief, information officer. Well, they offered me what would have become the chief information officer, right? And I sort of said, I sort of went, "Nah, I'm going to take this other one and go." Then, within 2 weeks, I was in America doing data migration, right? Which I shouldn't have been doing. Right? Because you're not supposed to work, you're just supposed to hold meetings. But we were furiously coding. And then after 3 months, if you know anything about America, then you've got to leave, right? Now you can go back, but you're still not supposed to work, right? So I left and came back in again, and because I'm kind of honest, they were asking if I'm going to be working, and I kind of went, I shouldn't have done that. I should just say, "No, I'm here to hold meetings, nothing more." So they wouldn't let me in. So basically, I drove back to Canada and I flew down to Mexico. And I've been here ever since, which is about 15 years. So I worked in the factory in Mexico for about 12. Right? And then basically I was canned due to the fact that the last management that I worked under were a bunch of idiots. And they've got rid of all the contract people just to get their costs down so that they could sell it to somebody else. So there you go. That's the story. I'm going to go and grab a cigarette, so I'll be back in 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'm back, and I can't really get into this tonight, to be fair. But what we could do is, if we go to our PB Craft, right, and we go to our progress, go to 0, right, then we can go to our graph and on event construct, right, yeah, we can't do a timeline, right, but tell you what, if I create a macro, can I do a timeline in the macro? No, I was trying to be sneaky there, but it's not going to let me be sneaky. I mean, right, this is just as I can't do a delay in there either. Maybe I can actually. Let's try this. Oh, we can do it that way. We could do it that way. Right, we'll do it like this, right? Because we're doing a function anyway. We'll say update progress. I've lost the train of thought here. Your last thing, sure, anything you would like. Don't know what that's in reference to. Right, but if we go back to our event graph, we can set timer by function name, get it to do it every 0.1 looping update progress right. Then in here we want a local variable. We might need to make this global, but we'll try it like this anyway. So we say progress, and that's going to be a float. Right, so we're going to get it, and we're going to set it, and we're going to say yeah, this isn't going to work here. Right, we're going to have to have it in here. So we're going to say progress Okay, in our event graph, we're going to set it to 0. It's just one of those things. It's Saturday night. It's always kind of quiet, so I appreciate you typing away, but it's always obviously easier if, you know, there's a few people in chat, because it gives you guys talk to each other plus talk to me and blah blah. Right, so now we do PB craft, we get that, and then we set percentage. Well, that's fine. As I said, I'll probably be finishing fairly early tonight. Just want to have a little bit of a relax, you know. And the thing here is, what we'll end up probably doing is a widget switcher, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to check this, and we're going to say if it's greater than or equal to 1, we're going to branch. Even if this doesn't look like it needs to, or whatever, this is fine, right? Because at least I'm getting some functionality in here. If this is true, we remove from parent. Right, this is probably not what we're going to do. We're probably going to do a widget switcher and show the sort of item complete type thing, right? But in the meantime, what we'll do is we need to craft an item. Right, and this is what it's going to do, but this is actually going to be in the other widget that we just done. Or it's going to be a callback to this, right? So this would be like a create widget, and it's going to be craft progress, then add to viewport. Okay. So we can see if this actually works or not. And the easiest way to actually do that is to take these out so that it doesn't try and check anything. But it just puts that on the screen. Right? Right, so our slidey thing is not going up. Okay. So what's going on? Event graph, event construct, update progress. Okay. Update progress. Okay. Right, I'm an idiot. So we've got to do progress plus 0.01 goes into there. Okay. As I said, this is just to give us a general idea of how this is going to look, and then we can take it from there, right? Right, we've got to put our bow down. And you can see our progress bar going up. Okay. Pretty darn cool, I'd say. You can click on it. Probably need this to be a bit bigger. Right. Okay. So if we go 600, 600. I don't know if I can or not. Right, so this needs to be bigger. Right, I'm going to put that to 0. I'm I'm going to put 50. Yeah, that doesn't really... You see, that just changes the position of it. It's more like I need this vertical box to actually be this size. And then what we do is we muck about with these things. Right? Then this canvas panel has just got padding on it, right? Right, we don't want it to do that, really. What we really want it to do is for this to be bigger. Okay, so we want it to be 600 by 33. Then this becomes 600 by 33, right? And that gives us our image. Now if we go back to PB Craft, right, we can do this one and we can try and lighten it. Don't know if this is going to actually lighten it or not, but it should, in theory. Well, if they're far away from their computers, they won't be crafting, will they? Right. It still needs to be a bit bigger. Right. Now, I'm going to say it needs that. And that. Right. Now, making it bigger should make it more visible as well. So it should serve the purpose for you guys for visibility as well, right? And there we go. Now, at the moment, that's taking 10 seconds, right? But it's easy for me now to change this code any way I want, right? I can basically put an input in here and then make it this. So, but what we could do is do that. Right? But actually, that's not the best idea. Well, actually, yeah, it is, right? Now, that's going to half the time it takes. But really what we want to do to save on this is to put this to 0.2. Now, this is only going to run every 0.2 of a second, right? So, at the end of the day, if we want it to run at 5 seconds, right, we need to make this 4. Okay? Right, so there we go. Cool, huh? Now, as I said, what we should do is probably have a button here that says cancel. Okay? And I think what we'll do for tomorrow, guys, right, is what I'm going to do is we're going to create the item, okay? So when it reaches the end here, okay, this isn't going to go away. But if you what's the best way to do this? Right, yeah. The best way to do this is if I stop this, right? I'm going to save this and I'll show you what I'm going to try and do tomorrow, and this will be our thing for tomorrow, okay? Which might be I don't know how tricky it's going to be, right? We're going to do R, right? Now, this isn't going to count up because I want it to stay on the screen to show you guys what I want it to do, right? What I want it to do is when it completes, right, it basically brings up the item that's going to go in our inventory, okay, and then it's going to slide into the right inventory slot. That's the plan for tomorrow, okay? So when the crafting is complete, we're going to add a cancel button, right? But when it completes, this is going to disappear for a minute, right? Our new item is going to appear on the screen here, and then it's going to slide into its inventory slot, okay? And that's the task we're going to do tomorrow. Okay, so this should start looking really slick, or at least that's the plan. So you guys have a fantastic night, day, whatever it is, afternoon. I'll be back tomorrow, 2 PM, as usual. If you haven't already, hit like and subscribe. check out the description for links to the game Discord, plus my personal Discord where I answer questions, etc. Also my Patreon where you can throw me a couple of bucks, and finally my previous game on Steam, which is available for $1. So thank you guys for watching tonight. Have a great evening. I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye for now.